I'm going to talk to you about the neurodiverse world and being a parent of a neurodivergent child today as a neurodivergent individual. So I think the thing that's interesting is I had an IEP meeting this morning for my eldest. And with the school, I really felt like they were treating him, viewing him, expecting him to be neurotypical or neuromajority. He's not. He is on the spectrum with ADHD, OCD, anxiety, and depression. He's also has complex grief with his father passing away. This Saturday is his birthday, and what some people don't know is that him and his dad shared a birthday. They were born the same day, 30 years apart. So there's a lot going on with my son right now. Not only is he navigating a world that is set up for neuromajority folks as a neurominority individual, he also has grief, and he has a birthday coming up. That's a big birthday. He's turning 15. He really is growing into adulthood and manhood, and he's doing it without his dad. And that's rough. So I had this IEP meeting this morning, and in the past, IEP meetings haven't always gone well. Part of that is because I was so distraught over how staff and would treat my son and how peers treated my son, the hardships my son has had to go through in his journey at public school. At one point, it was actually so bad that I kept him home and homeschooled him for 2.5 years. And he is back in the public school setting as I have to work, right? Not have to, I get to, I choose to, but I also have to because I am the sole surviving parent. So coming from a place of showing up to the meeting, I wanted to ask myself, what do I want the result to be, right? In the past, I have gotten so upset from IEP meetings that I have actually gotten physically ill. And then afterwards was physically ill with some sort of an illness, just because I got so upset. And I feel so deeply that I internalized my feelings, and it turned into my dis-ease turned into disease, right? It turned into some sort of a virus or flu of some sort. I don't want to continue that anymore. I don't want to get to a place where my emotions are so strong that I internalize them so deeply that it hurts me inside. So going into this meeting, I wanted the result to be, how do I find support for my son? How can I help my son navigate through high school? How can I support my son navigate through freshman year? And how can I make this work? And doing that from a place of curiosity and deep belief that I can work anything out. Now, in the past, I have met a lot of resistance from schools and staff members when it comes to IEP and allowing services for my son. I've also met with a lot of resistance of even giving him services or offering him services. Now, his middle school, I will say, hands down, they were amazing. I highly recommend his middle school. It is a public school. It is here in Bellevue, Washington. High school has been a huge transition, y'all. It has been challenging, I think, for him and for the family. So again, end result, I wanted to make sure that I'm showing up and bringing him the support that he needs. So in order to do that, I need to be here I need to be present. I need to be available. I need to listen, and be ready to think outside the box and ask questions. Be very curious. So in the meeting, what I did before the meeting was I made sure that I used my form of meditation. If you want to find out my form of meditation, please make an appointment. Reach out. Let's talk about it. thendmom.com. Follow the link. Get on my schedule. We'll talk about it. If you want to talk about an IEP meeting coming forward, again, get on my schedule. Let's talk about it. Okay. So also, while I was in the meeting, I chose to believe that I could pay attention, that I could listen to the words of the people, and that I could process at a speed where I was able to ask the questions back. In the past, I would be so stressed out. It would be hard for me to pay attention to what they were saying. Also, it was so hard for me because I would be thinking so many of my thoughts, and a lot of my thoughts weren't clean. A lot of my thoughts were coming from a place of, these people are my enemies. I'm going to show this school what to do. I was thinking thoughts that would make me an opponent of the school. I was also thinking thoughts of how to stick up for my son, right? And now, today, I was thinking more of thoughts of, how do I partner? How do I get to a place where I can support my son? How do I find the right resources? And coming from that place, I noticed the school was a lot more adept to me and him and our changes. And they came from a place of curiosity. And when they didn't, there were times where I met resistance a little bit, and it started to go towards this kid is this and that and the other, and boo-ha, boo-ha. And that's my kind of language. And I very quickly said, hey, what is happening, what I'm witnessing right now is you're treating my son as a neuromajority, and we need to be looking at him as a neurominority. And coming from a neurominority standpoint, how can we come together and support him? And anytime the conversation would start to go to boo-ha, boo-ha, my wording, I would bring it back in that way. And because of that, I feel like we were able to get off the call and make a plan to really support him in the way that he needs. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't go back to the board and back to the table and need to come together to come up with new and different ways to support him. But I also feel like, coming from a place of being very centered and believing that this team of people together can come up with solutions, it allowed me to come of a place of calm, open, curiosity, centered, and the ability to talk, negotiate, and problem solve. And that is exactly what happened. So I wanted to be able to share that with you today, and hope that that helps one of you. If you want to talk more about this, if you have an IEP coming up, or you had an IEP that you want to talk about, feel free to reach out to me, thendmom.com.